also. And, Elise, thanks for setting all this up for everybody. So what we're going to do is we get into this. I know we got a few more people hopefully getting on because this is going to be something that I know is going to be huge value, and, we know that knowledge isn't power. It's applied knowledge that's power. And so as we take some of these things that we're going to learn through this session, this Diamond Interactive Leadership session trainings that we're starting on a monthly basis with Randy, with Ann, it really is going to be a source of not just knowledge and experience, but to be able to have feedback and to be able to learn and grow together. And so I'm thrilled to be able to have Randy here, to have Ann here, because this is something that I've always known, and I know you as leaders know that, and that is we have got to continually progress. And listening to how do you turn one person into multiple, listening to Randy even years ago when I started in this industry, it was an inspiration to me. I would have never thought 20 years ago when I was driving around Central Europe and Western Europe, and I moved my family over to Budapest, I would have never thought that as I'm driving from one city to the next, listening to CDs that Randy had put out, that I would have an opportunity. We'd be sitting on the same webinar like this in Zoom, being able to get live training from the individual that I got recorded training from, and really was inspirational and educational, and in a 26-year-old kid that was trying to get started in networking for the first time. And so this is an honor, and I'm excited that they're willing to do this, to take the time and energy, as I know that Randy does a lot of different trainings, as well as Ann, that costs quite a bit to be able to participate in. And they get people from all over the world that they train. And here we are with kind of our seeds within RAIN to be able to train and educate and to be able to learn from those people that have had that kind of experience is unreal and unbelievable. And I'm excited about the chance to be mentored by mentors. Now, remember, one thing that I always love to say as we get into this, there's a difference between a friend and a mentor. Okay, a friend will tell you look good when you don't. Okay, a mentor will tell you that you need to change because you look funny, because they care. And, that's what we want here. We want mentors. We want people that we can look to that will tell us the truth, that can show us the path and the way. So, Randy, thanks so much for being. I'm going to turn it over to you first, but I just want to do an introduction to Randy first off. It's an honor to be able to have you here, to be able to team up with you on some of these things that we're doing with RAIN. We're so excited to have you with your experience, with your knowledge. And I know there's going to be a ton of value that all of these leaders in RAIN are going to be able to get by listening to you and Ann. And so thanks for being here. I'm going to turn the time over to Randy Gage, everybody.
If you would have asked me 20 years ago about that 26-year-old young guy driving around in Budapest, listening to my cassette tapes, and told me 20 years from now, he's going to be the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company operating in 50 countries around the world, single-handedly rescuing it from the throes of conference and chaos and challenges, I would have said, well, of course, that's Byron Belka. I see his future. I went to a psychic and she told me that guy is amazing. Seriously, that's Byron. You're just the perfect example of what this whole profession is about. People, young, inexperienced people who have a dream and they're willing to pay the dues, learn the skills, face the rejection, stare down the challenges, and keep persevering because they believe so much in their dream. And now the people you see in this room who represent those thousands of other people who we don't see in the room, that's all the result of your tenacity, your vision, your commitment. And so for you guys who were just meeting for the first time, some of you for the second time, welcome. We can't even begin to tell you how excited Ann and I are to work with you guys. This is going to be a monthly thing where it'll be interactive. We want to really be the liaison between the field and the corporate. We're kind of the conduit as we're helping develop some of these marketing materials and the training agendas and things. Today, just so you know, today we won't be taking questions because we did want Byron to kick it off, and we also wanted to bring you a really important update on the IT situation, which we know people are really facing some challenges in that right now. And we also want to also bring you up to date on where we're at for this Ascend event, which is going to be, you know, the real breakthrough tipping point for Rain 2.0. That's where Operation Exponential Growth is really going to take off. And yeah, you know, I have tracked, I have now given training in 53 countries around the world, and Lord knows how many more if I count the video ones. Ann is training everywhere around the world. Yes, we work with companies and we help their leaders develop. But just so you know, I wanted to do a count of how many companies that Ann and I do this kind of personal, interactive leadership training with the top people every month. And the number is 1. Rain International. Okay. This is, you should know that this is the the highest level of commitment we are doing with any company in the world. And it is based on a long time experience of our relationship with Jeff Higginson, your new president, based on the fabulous relationships we've developed with Travis, and then meeting Byron and seeing what he's done over the course of this last, 13 years or 12 years, whatever it's been. And we're just simply shocked that Rain isn't a billion-dollar company yet. We look at the product line, the product story, the potential there, and the work that's been done, the investment, the people you see in the room, Justin and Casey and Elise and Devin and the whole corporate team, the investment that the company is making in this kind of training, in the November event, in the tools. This is world-class investment. You've got some tools which will be unveiled in Norway, the first round. They're better than any company in the industry has. There's companies that do $9 billion a year, $5 billion a year, and they don't have the kind of materials of the caliber and the effectiveness with candidates that you're going to see unveiled in Oslo. So we're really excited about that. But we just know, of course, Ann and I have been doing everything we can to meet with you guys individually, to set up the event, get people prepared for the training that they'll be doing on stage. Because understand, Ann and I are not meant to be the face of this company. You guys are the face of this company. Our job is to be working behind the scenes, helping you be the greatest leaders that you can become. And your team needs to see you on stage, not Ann and I. We'll be there, we'll be doing stuff more in the beginning than at the end, but our goal is to empower you, just like the greatest football players and golfers and gymnasts. They all have coaches who work with them behind the scene that allow them to go out and win those gold medals. That's the role we want to play with you. Anyway, so during that interaction, we've been digging deep and finding out about the IT issues. Some of you have none at all. You're like, what are they talking about? Everything works great. Other areas, like we know in Scandinavia right now, there's been some real issues with just getting customers enrolled, getting new people signed up, their orders are being kicked out or the credit cards are not being processed. And we know this has been a really ongoing situation because there were some big changes at corporate, right? And people were shuffled around, and you're working in so many markets, so short staffed. So I know some of you are saying, oh, come on, we've been hearing this forever. You keep saying it's going to get fixed, and it didn't get fixed. But we asked Jeff to come on for this first one, because what Travis and Byron and Jeff have done is really create a strike team with Justin and Casey, and bringing in some new talent and really getting and throwing a lot of money at it, frankly, bringing in a lot of resources to get this done right. So we don't want any of that holding you back from getting to Oslo. We don't want any of that holding you back from getting as many of your team to Norway as you can. So some of you have already met Jeff. You'll learn more and hear more from him in Oslo. But for you guys, the leaders, we asked if he would join us for a few minutes today and just give you an update on what the strike team is doing to fix the situation, and give you just the commitment of the company and some timelines, some realistic timelines that you can count on. So Jeffrey, Ann and I have worked with this guy for almost 2 decades. He's as good as they come of professionals in the business, running companies much larger than Rain is right now, but that Rain will soon be. He knows how to get the trains running on time. He knows how to collect talent and put together an amazing team. And the most important thing you should know about him is he's a coach. He coaches football, he coaches baseball, he coaches network marketing, he coaches his spiritual flock. So our real training today, we want to cover duplication, right? We're going to talk about the laws that govern duplication. But before we get into that, we wanted Jeff to just bring you up to date so you know exactly where we're at. So Jeff, thanks so much for agreeing to be on the call. Please share any thoughts you have on that current situation and how it's going.
I sure will. Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Randy, and to be able to lock arms with both you and Ann and Byron and Casey and this team and Travis Perry and what he's put together. Truly, at this stage in my professional career, is so meaningful to be able to really line up with these type of people and to be able to come in and meet you, of which I've heard so much about. And I'm so grateful for that chance to be able to be here today. For some of you, I'm meeting for the first time. But man, what stories, what incredible feedback I've been getting from Randy and Ann on each of you, and then Byron. And if I want more information, I go down to Casey, and these guys just continue to feed us with the enlightenment from each of you. But I'm here today to talk about a couple of things that I think are important for our business moving forward, and things that we must expect and things that you can expect. All of the things I will talk about, I have seen firsthand. I have seen them. They're set up, they're built, they're done. Now they're in the code phasing, and we'll be able to release these within the next couple of weeks going into Oslo, which will be a huge, huge victory for Rain International. And I want you also to know that not only can we expect it, you can expect it. It's important to know that. The days where this company brings stuff out, comes to you, finds you in your countries, has to deliver. And it's a strong message from Mr. Belka. It's a strong message from those who have been here and put the time in. It's very important. And we're going to do this extremely carefully and right. And we're going to do it at the pace that makes it better, because you who are on this call are our greatest assets. Our greatest assets. And you who are on this call need to be the people that are protected the most in this process. And so I want to just go through, I've written 6 things down that I want to touch on today, and I'll be brief on that because this call Randy and Ann are doing, they've charged me tens of thousands of dollars to witness before. So I don't know where you guys get the special treatment to come into this and get this information. I've sat in rooms with some of the top people in our profession, and they teach this, and you guys get this today, and what a treasure that is. So thank you to both of you for offering this. Number one, the implementation of the 3DS protocol to help simplify the checkout process is being completed. That's the process that you go in, you enroll, you're taking cards. Because of the global fraud issues, banks and merchants are constantly changing processes, and we have to be in compliance with those processes, and we are in compliance with those processes. In the process of becoming compliant with them, we're making the merger work. We're making it come together in a way where it becomes more and more effective. And so, yes, many of you don't have issues with this. Some of you do. The percentage is little, but it's got to be none. We've got to be able to bring people into this business, enroll them, be able to take credit cards and work through that process. Now, sure, are you going to have to update credit cards every year? Are you going to have to do things like that? Or, you know, that's natural, and we all need to remember that. But as far as the system itself goes, that simplified process will be very, very effective for you and make a big, big difference. So I appreciate everything that's happened on that level. We're also going to improve the mobile responsiveness and navigation of this business from your phone, from the back office. You've got to be able to build from it. You've got to be able to do it at any given time. And that process is being implemented, and it's really a nice, clean process. I think you're really going to notice the difference and enjoy that very, very much. We're going to be bringing a new RPT reporting into this, which allows you, which includes a graphical widget that allows you to be able to see your RPT teams. You're knowing who's there. You're going to be able to know who you have and what you don't have. Going to be pretty amazing. And I've seen that firsthand. It's fun to see because you are constantly, it's like going to a ball game and looking up at the scoreboard and knowing where you're at the game, knowing how much time's left in the game, whatever you're playing, and being able to see, hey, I'm down, the time's running out, I got to find some strategy to get some points. And so these widgets become really powerful for you. And I think you're going to love them, and it's going to help you with your business. So they're also cool looking, you know, and I think that makes a difference too in what we're doing. Also, we're going to have an addition to the matrix, the boxes on the dashboard, which will include your personal sponsorship people, being able to see those people, which is a huge thing, being able to look at those people in your organization, but also be able to look at how many RPTs you have in the organization, not only your personal, but what you have down there, so you can go down and help and work and get things done there. And again, that's a big victory. You know, that's the visibility of our business. You guys are the best at this, right? To have the visibility, to be able to know where you are, what the altitude level is of your business is huge. And that piece is coming and will be really, really nice. I think you're really going to enjoy that. And the IT team has worked tirelessly through this process. I got to tell you, one of those that's helped make this happen is on the call with us, Casey, and what he and his team have done with these outside consultants. We're investing big money into Rain right now, more than it's ever happened, more than it ever is invested into this company. We're investing a ton of resources to make sure we get this company where we want it to be, to make sure the greatest asset, which is each of you, can build this business effectively. We've enhanced the RPT report. That will kind of be a hot report. It will go in there. So in those boxes you have down there, you'll be able to hit that RPT report. It'll show you the hot side of that, how it'll give you who's eligible for the Rain Partner Team bonuses. It'll show you all that information so that you can better organize and work within your organization to have that become effective. And then the launch bonus widget will be coming out soon as well, before Ascend. And this stuff, all of these things will be out there for you to look at, to see, to know exactly what you have to do. And not only for you, but for your organizations, so that they can see and they can look at that and know what it is they have to do. I want to also give a big shout out to our marketing team, Devin and Elise and Dylan, all of them. I don't want to leave any names out. They've worked so tirelessly with Randy and Ann in this process to be delivering these amazing tools that you'll see at Ascend. This event, I know in my history of being in this business, there's always those events that we go, that was the day. That was the moment. That's when my dream became a real reality, where there's no fluff. It's real stuff. It's delivered. The deliverables will be there in your hands, available to you digitally and print, all of the stuff that makes this special. That marketing team has worked tirelessly with Randy and Ann to complete this, and you'll be able to get this stuff in the Norwegian language to start, as well as English, and then those other languages coming soon. So you're going to come into this event with a whole bunch of stuff coming. And I've never been so excited in my personal career. Even back when I started in the beginning of a company that we built to be a beautiful company, right now are those feelings, and those feelings are the right people coming together. This company will change the course of destiny in the nutrition world. That I know to be true. That's the greatest strength it has. And then coupled with the people that it's attracted and the people like you, this company's destined for greatness. So thank you very much for your time today. Randy and Ann, thanks for allowing me a few minutes. And I'll turn the time back over to my dear friend and one of the great runners, energy people, workers, builds the business like you can't believe, trains like you can't believe, a rock star in her own right, Ann Feinstein.
Thank you, Jeff. Whoa, guys, how about that for an update? Okay, can we give Jeff a rousing applause for that? Okay, because things are getting done. As we say, you know, we came in here with a lot of excitement, enthusiasm for everything that's going on in the company. And then working together with Byron and Travis and Casey and Justin and Devin, and just pulling it all together is exciting to us. And we're excited to be here in this interactive session because you are the leaders. And Byron said something earlier that I just want to jump on. And that is, if you want things to change, you go first. You know, that is the key to everything that we talk about when we talk about duplication, because duplication is about being duplicatable. Okay. And so the 9 laws that we're going to talk about today really are the kickstart to 2024. Okay, guys. And that kickstart has a nice, you know, what we call a launch pad right now. This is the perfect time of the year where we start to launch. Okay. And we're going into this. The timing couldn't be more perfect with this event coming up in September. I hope you really grasp that. I hope you're really looking at that and understanding that everything that you do between now and Ascend to get more butts in the chairs, as we say, will then take you through and introduce you into Rain 2.0 and this power of duplication and the power of a system. And so the first law is you live or die by the formula. Okay, you live or die by the formula of duplication. And that first law has everything to do with the following. And you probably want to write this down, because if you put this up on your computer and you're in front of you and you're thinking about it, it comes in 3 parts. The first part is to lead a large group of people. Okay, a large group. I didn't say 2 people. I didn't say 3. I didn't say 5. But a large group, which means that you have to have something that allows people to see themselves doing something over and over again so that they can come into a presentation and go, ah, I can do that. Not, oh, Nina, oh, Shayo, okay, you're really good at that. You can do that. No, everyone sees the same opportunity. So large group of people, okay, performing a few simple actions Okay, and that means simple actions, pointing to a tool, opening a booklet, presenting with a flip chart, okay, working with your upline and inviting people and doing a grand opening. All those pieces are a few simple actions that everybody then, locks arms on. And the third part is over a sustained period of time. Okay, sustained. That's why, as you're going to hear more and more about the MPO, we talk about, hey, we're talking to our new people and saying, give us a year. Let's do this together and let's make things happen. Okay, that's a consistent period of time, over a consistent period of time. So that formula, that 3-part, is very important. And that's something that we want to make sure we're teaching to the team, because that will set the pace for everything else. So over to you, Randy, for number 2.
So law number 2 is what works doesn't really work. Or meaning, what works in many other things, including regular sales, does not work in network marketing. And the philosophy that we have to live by is that it doesn't matter what works, it matters what duplicates. We could take an ad on the World Cup and we could have 1 billion people watching our commercial, and you might sign up 1 million new partners. But how many of those partners could duplicate your result? And the answer is probably 1 or 2 or 0. You have to do the business in a way that people can replicate your results. So if you're a powerful influencer on TikTok or Instagram, and you've got 200,000 followers, you could sign up a lot of people quickly. But are they going to be able to replicate the process? You always want to, here's the rule I use for myself, is every time I think of an action, I ask myself this question. Could a person on my 25th level who never met me in person create this same result? And if they can't answer, if the answer to that question is not yes, then I don't want to do that behavior or action. Even though it makes more money, it sponsors more people short term, it doesn't work long term. And what's number 3?
Well, number 3 is tools transform you into a duplicatable superhero. And that is so true, because when you put into place the tools and you start to point, as I mentioned, okay, everything works better because tools, okay, do the same thing every time you use them. They don't have a bad day. They're not overexcited. They just didn't have a fight with their husband or their wives. They didn't have a boss that screamed at them. They present in the same way consistently and will do it with you over a prolonged period of time, over and over again. They give a unified message. Okay, and what I'm seeing is we want to have a unified message throughout RAIN. We want to be able to say the same thing in Bosnia that we're saying in London. We want to say the same thing in London that we're saying in Indianapolis. The same thing, over in other countries. We want to make sure that the same information is being transmitted so that no matter where we go, okay, anywhere in the world, we're going to hear the same thing. That means that Byron can come to a location, Jeff can come to a location, Randy, Ann, Casey, or Justin can visit, and they're going to hear the same thing. And then the leaders are going to be able to share in the same language and the same messaging. So tools always give a unified message. The other part of it is that it stays compliant. Okay. And we all know that we have some rogue people, okay, out there that are out there talking about things that they probably shouldn't be talking about. Okay. We're talking about nutrition and supplements. We're talking about, wonderful things. And we have a way and we have a language of presenting that stays within compliance so that we're not going out there in white coats and putting a shingle up, in the front of our house and suddenly doing, all kinds of observations and medical procedures. No, guys, we have to stay compliant, and we have to stay within a language that works for everyone, that also offers the benefits to the consumer in a way that is solution oriented. And that's what the tools will do for you. They will provide solutions. They will be consumer and potential partner centric. So those people say, okay, they know what I'm looking for. This is an answer to what I'm looking for. And then finally, there's nothing worse, like Randy was saying, that somebody's saying, oh, they came to a presentation and boy, okay, Marianne, okay, and Adiza, they were so good, but I could never do that. Okay, and that's what happens a lot of times if we are personality driven and we're not tool driven. And you're going to have tools, videos, you're going to have flip charts, you're going to have booklets, okay? And I'm talking about first-class booklets that are just magazine quality. And you're going to have a manual, okay? We'll be talking about that for your new partner orientation, so that everybody, as these rolls out into the different countries, will be in different languages as well. So with that, that is number 3. And number 4, Randy, over to you.
Okay, so for my interpreter, I'm going to explain this a little. The law is be a builder, not a hypester. So hypester is kind of a slang word, Martina, that means just a person who is very hypey and salesy and a little too much salesy. And they rely on hype instead of substance and fact. There are a lot of companies and individual leaders who have had meteoric rises by being hypesters. They do the rah-rah, and in English we say smoke and mirrors, which is a term to describe kind of misleading, exaggeration, embellishment. Sometimes it's outright lying. So think of, if you've been around the profession a while, as some of you have, you can think of companies like Vema, had an incredible 2-year run. A company like Manavi, huge 2-year run. Visalis, huge 2-year run. Anybody can do that. In fact, if you look right now in the space, we have a lot of MLM crypto Ponzi schemes, and they are having a big run right now. They look very successful. They have people making crazy big bonus checks, but that's not real. That's hype. And nothing could illustrate it more than a guy who lives, I'm coming to you today from Miami. I can go 7 or 8 miles in that direction, and there's a guy named Mike. So yesterday, Mike got his Bentley repossessed, his Rolls Royce repossessed, his Rolex watches and all of his thousands of dollars worth of jewelry confiscated, his apartment, his condominium, and like 10 other things, because he's been promoting OneCoin and Trader's Domain and all of these MLM crypto schemes. His name is Mike Sims, and he was arrested months ago. They seized his phones and his laptop computers, and now yesterday, and he's turned witness trying to get a better deal. And yesterday they came and they took all of his stuff that he bought from, with all of that money he made, because all of that money was criminal enterprise. You can't let those people set the pace. We have to build a culture of building lines brick by brick, not with hype, not with rah-rah or emotion, substance. We've got to talk about a 2 to 4-year plan for people. And we got to stop talking so much about Lamborghinis, and we got to start talking more about quality of life and how to become debt-free. For all of you guys who speak English, I'm going to give you a resource. It's a website called duplicationnation.com. When I finish, I'll put it in the chat, or if someone can type it in. Duplicationnation.com. Free newsletter there. There's a boot camp on kind of a 3-week course on how to get started fast in the business. It's totally generic. It's a site I do with Jaime Loquier, a friend of mine. And we're on a crusade to shut down these crypto schemes and these Ponzi schemes. And so for you guys who speak English or Spanish, it'll be a good resource for you just to know what's going on, because we name names. We expose those people and those companies. And so when you learn about them, then you can tell your team about them and you can inoculate them against that. So this is really an important principle for duplication. Is it's more long-term based, because you know the hucksters and the hypey people, they can always build quicker in the short term. But remember, they're not going to be here after 2 years. We're helping you to build a business that will still be there in 2035, in 2045, a business that you could will to your children or your grandchildren. And a big part of this, building this right culture, is how you start people off. And that's what this next law is all about.
Exactly. And that is the 2-week make it or break it window. Okay, guys, that's really what you have with a brand new team member. You have a 2-week window. And the cool thing is that it's not a matter of you having to then say, oh, you know what, you got to do this and this. It's a matter of pointing them to the new partner orientation manual that will be launched. Okay, actually, probably this coming week in Rainmaker University, because we will actually be teaching in Modular 2 how to use the new partner orientation manual. And with that will come a digital copy. So yes, there will be digital copies of our materials in the back office after you guys, during and when you come back from Ascend, that will be up and running. Okay, so that's a cool thing. And then of course we'll be launching out the tools at the event in English, you heard before, and Norwegian, and then eventually into the other languages. And then that will also go into the new distributor kits that will be launched as well in the different markets in the rollout. So Byron and Jeff and the whole gang are working like crazy to get that done. And we're putting all these pieces together and working like crazy right now. So I hope you're jumping up and down and vibrating in your chairs and going, Rob, we love you, Byron. We love you guys. Okay, because this is going to be the biggest motion and momentum push for Rain. And I'm excited because this new partner orientation, the NPO, the theme behind it is you bring the dream and we bring the thunder. Okay, you bring the dream and we bring the thunder. And that thunder comes from having a manual that tells a new member how to get started. So you're not saying to them, okay, well, you know, you need to have these, you know, certain five different things set up this week. No, it's going to be follow the system. It's there. It's written up. And with your help, you're going to help them to duplicate. You're going to help them with the step-by-step, okay, to make sure they're staying on track. You're going to help them, as you're going to hear more and more as we talk about, yes, okay, making a list and doing the revenue producing activities, okay, that some of you are saying, whoa, yes, it is a bit of old school and new school mixed together because you got to do both. I love the way Byron always says it. You know, he says a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it all works together. You do it in, you know, online as well as offline. There's actually offline activities that you can do as well. Because you know what? This is about getting people back together again. I mean, I just did a post. I love, okay, the online world. Believe me, guys, I do. It has been amazing. Okay, but I also know what happens when you bring people together. You connect hearts, you connect souls, you connect passion. Okay, you make friendships. Okay, and this is what happens when you bring it all together. And all of this is laid out in the new partner orientation. And so you get them you're giving them a kick in the butt to get started, even while they're waiting for their packs to arrive. Not, oh, okay, well, I'll get started when the packs arrive. No. Okay, we're going to get started tonight. Here is your new partner orientation. Okay, let's go to work. Okay, and here you open the book up and you show them, this is what you're going to do right now. This is how you're going to get started. This is what I want you to take a look at, and you're going to call me, as Randy says, and get people moving the butts. All right, guys, so that's going to be laid out in the new partner, the NPO. You're going to hear us talking a lot about NPO. Okay, and that's what we're talking about. So let's get over to the next one, Randy.
This is one of those things I like to call a law of the universe, like gravity. Gravity is a law of the universe. The circulation of the planet pulls us to stay grounded on the planet. Centrifugal force is a law of gravity. If you go around a corner very quickly in your car, the force is going to pull you to the outside. The next universal law is the harder you close people, the less they duplicate. And the least you close them, the better they duplicate. It just seems like it's a sales business. We get a lot of people who come from real estate, insurance sales, other sales, and they want to bring those sales techniques to what we do. But realistically, I would guess about 15% of the population are sales types. They know how to sell, they love to sell, and they have learned the sales techniques. Shayo is a sales type. I know if Shayo knocks on my door and she tries to sell me Girl Scout cookies, I'm going to buy 25 boxes of them. Okay, that's just who Shayo is. But 85% of the people in the world are not sales types. They don't know how to sell, and they're afraid to sell. And if you try to turn them into salespeople, they'll probably drop out and they'll stop recruiting. So what we've got to do is, even if you know those skills, and many of you do, right? You've been taught closing techniques. You've been taught neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP techniques. Those things, they will get you first level people, but they won't get you duplication. So when we have somebody who's kind of on the fence, the way to bring them on board is through education, not manipulation. So if a guy says, well, let me talk it over with my wife, you could say, why do you need to talk to your wife? Aren't you the man in the family? You know, they say they don't know if they have enough money. And then you kind of embarrass them or ridicule them into finding enough money for the initial kit. What you're going to find in those cases is you sell that first big kit, but then it goes in the closet and they never sponsor anyone else and you never see them again. So instead of trying to sell people, we want to open people. And the way we open people is by giving them more education, giving them more information. One of the breakthroughs you're going to see in the Norway event is what we call the candidate pathway. How we pre-qualify someone, Are they in the customer interest path or the business interest path? And then which step do we take each time? And what is the tool that we use effectively to make that step work? So we kind of have a joke in the business. We say, when you're talking to a candidate, if your lips are moving, you better be pointing to a third-party tool or an external source tool, because the tool can always be duplicated. So just remember, the harder you close them, the less they duplicate. The less you try to close them, the greater they're going to duplicate. So what are we up to? We're number 6, I think, Ann?
Yeah, the candidate pathway is your best friend, okay?
Oh, that's number 7, right? I think it's number 7. I lost count.
Okay, so the candidate pathway is your best friend. And that means that, as Randy was saying, you know, people know exactly where to go. They know the next step. That's where you're going to get the confidence built in people. You know, and confidence builds belief, but it builds belief in the company. It builds belief in the team. It builds belief in you, and it builds belief in them. It builds belief that they can do this because they know what the next step is. And if we're clear and we don't change that and we lock arms on that, and I'm saying lock arms, okay, and be in agreement so that no matter where we go, we're doing the same thing with the same process and the same tools. And this is how you build exponential growth. You know, I can tell you that having teams in different countries, whether it was over in Thailand, over in Israel, over in Italy, okay, in the United States, over in London, you know, over in Germany, wherever it was, our teams did the same thing. Their tools were in their language, obviously their culture, okay, but they were telling the same thing and using the same pathway. So when somebody comes in, you're going to, as some of you have seen little excerpts of, you know, getting how we get people started in the pathway. We're going to have a sizzling, sexy, sizzle video, and I'm talking about sizzling sexy, okay? And I hope I don't upset somebody by saying it that way, but I can tell you that every time I watch it, and I know many of you have commented, you get goosebumps, okay? Where people want to know more. They want to know, what is this? There's that sense of curiosity. What is this? Oh my goodness. You know, a little James Bond, a little bit of, you know, Tom Cruise, you know, whatever you choose to, with the excitement from that. So that's the first thing. Then they go in and they're going to ask you, well, what impressed you the most? You're going to ask them that question, and then you're going to find out, are they interested in the product, into the business, or are they interested in both? And you're going to take them to the next step, which will be another tool, guys. Okay, there will be tool after tool after tool, as we said, video tools, and yes, they will be in a library, digital library in the back office. Written tools, okay, you'll be able to hand them to people. And you know what? There are markets around the world where we really need those hard copy tools. And what the company has been willing to invest is so exciting, to be able to have those tools and to put it in many languages, okay, where this starts with the kid and then you can buy extra tools. And you will be able to buy tools, by the way, in Ascend. Okay, and I'm hoping that you keep a extra suitcase with you, or certainly room in your suitcase, so that you can load it up with all these tools to come back and hit the ground running, okay, by following the pathways. And I want to tell you this, that again, that's how you're going to build a strong unified base, okay, by following the pathways and using the tools. So guys, the next one, I'm going to turn it back over to Randy, and that's an important one too, because there's an inertia. Okay, there's a gravity, there's an excitement, there's an action. All this happens. Randy, over to you.
Yeah, this dynamic law is you have to break the inertia of gravity. There's a fascinating thing. When they launch a rocket and they send it to outer space, it takes 85% of the fuel in that rocket to get out of the Earth's atmosphere. And then with that 15% that's left, that rocket can go all the way to the moon. If you see the launches that SpaceX are doing right now, they launch a rocket it goes up, they go out into space, it travels around, they put satellites up, and then it comes back to Earth and it lands on a platform in the ocean. But 85% of that fuel is used up just to get out of the atmosphere. And I think that's a really important analogy for network marketing. The first 2 months of somebody's business is going to be the hardest 2 months of their career. The first 2 weeks is going to be the hardest 2 weeks of their career. And talk to anybody who has been in the business for a long time, and they will confirm to you that every single year the business gets easier. The second year is easier than the first year. The third year is easier than the second year. The 10th year is easier than the 9th year. When you begin, you might call 25 people and only 2 people would come to a presentation. You don't have the skills. You don't have the confidence. You haven't practiced your craft. When you're in the business for 8 years, you might call 25 people and 22 of them would watch a presentation. The business gets easier. So when we say you've got to break the inertia of gravity, we're going to teach you 2 things in Norway that will do that. And both of these are very expertly explained in this new partner orientation that Ann has been telling you about. One is called the grand opening, which is how a new partner can get 10 customers within 48 hours of joining the business. And the second concept is something we call the major blast, where we'll show you a process where you could literally get 70 or 90 or 120 people to be invited to see a presentation in your first 2 weeks in the business. And we'll show you exactly how to do that. You'll be able to do it. You'll be able to teach your people to do it because you'll have the new partner orientation to help you do it. And that's how you will break this inertia. And then we have found, you make or break your new partners in the first 2 weeks, and the first 48 hours is critical. And so when we get them into action, so they study, do, and teach simultaneously, man, you dramatically reduce your dropout rate. You dramatically increase your long-term retention rate, and your duplication goes up by a power of 100. But it's really the magic in all this is that first 2 weeks when you're working with your new partner. And that's we're going to go into that in depth in Norway. So we got one more left, dynamic law number 9, which is...
Okay, that is be active, not reactive. Okay, and I'm going to add to that, and that is, in the beginning, I said, if you want things to change, you go first. Okay, so if you want to have a relaunch of your business, which I assume every one of you on today, and every one of you watching today is going to be sitting there saying, you know what? The best way, okay, to change the situation is to bring in new blood. Let people see you actively recruiting. Let people hear about your activity. Okay, Randy mentioned a grand opening. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you could be grand opening a new business. You're relaunching your business, and you're going to have a grand opening, and you're going to be able to say this is what happened, and you'll have the experience because you went first. Okay, the same thing for a major blast. Our goal, okay, and I will tell you this, our goal is to get 100 people, every one of those people that comes, and every one of them that you're teaching to bring 100 people to a point of looking at our business with this new Sizzle tool. How would that change your business? If 100 new people, okay, you brought in and they took a look at your business, and all of the people that you have in your business brought 100 people in. I don't know about you, but I'm sitting here, I'm getting excited because I know that's what that's going to do for Nina, okay, for Adiza, for Shayo, for Marianne, okay, for Gerd. I know what it's going to do for you guys to have that new energy, that new blood, because you know what? They don't have PTSD. They don't have any back issues. They don't know about the past unless you tell them. They only know how you're going forward. Okay, they only know about Rain 2.0 at this point. And that is how you create that active, activity, I should say, in your business. And that is moving from passive recruiting, like somebody says, oh, and they cough and you go, oh, did I hear you cough? I'm going to run over and I'm going to start talking about products. Okay. Oh, your boss is, a pain in the neck. Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you about our business. No, that's very passive. What we're going to say is you're going to go out there and talk to people. Okay. And you can talk to people physically, you can talk to people online, you can text people, all those things count, okay, in this world. So nobody's being left out, and nobody's telling you can only do one way. Okay. You have all of this to you now. Gosh, Randy and I look back at, we never had the technology we have today. Okay, we actually had to sit across from somebody and tell them about our story. Remember that, Byron? Actually sit down and actually do a meeting in a coffee shop. Okay, well, guess what? We can now get lots of people to look at our business, lots of people to come to our events, lots of people to have openings, grand openings, lots of people doing, a mass new blast to people over again. Doesn't matter if you've been in the business 10 years. You get an opportunity, okay, to relaunch your business. And the beautiful thing, and just a couple of quick hints on this, but the cool thing is that, I use things like birthdays, how many you reach out to somebody, wish them a happy birthday, find out what's going on. Hey, let's catch up. That's one of my favorites. Okay. Or you get on, you start rebuilding a list. You reach out to people, text, phone, whatever. Get things going. That's active recruiting, not just sitting there and doing posts and going, oh, I hope somebody responds. But anybody that looks at your posts, guess what? They go on the list. Okay, they go on your list. Even if they've just passed through one of your stories or they've just liked something, they go on the list. Because ultimately, you're going to do something called a 3-3-3, which we're going to explain over there. 3 days in with somebody on social media, you are besties. You are best friends. Okay. And if it's done right, they will never think of you as a spammy person. They will think of you as their best new friend. So we're going to be teaching that as well, guys. And I can tell you that by following these ideas, you can then go out there and launch and work with some of the best people that Randy and I have had an opportunity to work with incredible people, insurance brokers, and incredibly successful. Taekwondo grandmasters, okay, one, being very involved in the U.S. Olympic Committee, okay, because guess what? It was a reach out on a birthday. How about that? Or somebody that owns med spas, okay, imagine that. Med spas, best stuff in the universe. And guess what? It was as a result of let's catch up, okay? A digital marketing expert, course creator. I'm just giving you examples of people that I have actually recruited because guess what? I look for the best people doing the best things and I reach out. So I'm going to recommend you start thinking about active versus passive and you bring everything together. Okay, so that you've got a lot of different quivers, okay, a lot of different bows in your quiver. I think that's the expression, and that you're ready to take aim, okay, and do the right thing and make things happen because Ascend is going to transform your business. So let's talk about some of the things that we want to call to action.
Yeah, we have 2 assignments for you. What we want you to know about Ascend, of course, it started off as just a regional event for Norway and Scandinavia. When we started working with the team, we said, you know what? Let's bring in the diamonds from around the world. let's do a special boot camp for them for 2 days before the event on high level leadership stuff. So there's gonna be a special session for diamonds and above from 9 a.m. on Thursday to 10 p.m. at night. This is gonna be like a boot camp, like you joined the military. And then we're gonna come back Friday morning and we're gonna go till 3 or 4 in the afternoon again. We'll have a short break. Then we're gonna have a special training just for your platinum and aboves for an hour or so. Some more of the mid-level leadership stuff. And then the big session will start Friday night, go all day Saturday. You have the party, I think, Saturday night, the all-day training on Sunday. And then we're going to do an actual opportunity presentation on Sunday night that you could bring guests to. And we're going to have diamonds doing that. It will be with a whole new standardized presentation, which will be unveiled in Norway with a new PowerPoint deck that is being created right now. It's magnificent. So if you're serious about becoming a leader with Rain for the next 20 years, here's your assignment. Assignment number 1 is get registered for Ascend right now, if you haven't already. And assignment number 2 is how many of your team members, your serious leaders, can you get there? And I know what it means to come from Bosnia and Africa and Asia. I get it. This is not something that we're asking lightly of you. We're saying, hey, the company is really investing. Probably, if you think about with the event, the tools, bringing in all the experts, it might be $500,000 that they're going to spend on 3 or 4 days for you guys to invest in you. So we know what a big deal it is to come from somewhere else, but we're suggesting it will transform your business and lead you for the next 20 years. This will be that tipping point event that Jeff talked about. So that's your assignment. This is like Mission Impossible. You get the assignment and you choose whether or not to accept it. But your assignment is get to Ascend and get as many of your serious people there as you can. Then again, we will spend 2 days with you, high-level leadership training. How do you lead a team of 50 or 100,000 or 200,000 people all over the world? How do you create a movement that your team buys into? How do you work with synergistically with 10 or 12 serious leaders at one time? What do you do if people take a deal and go to another company? How do you handle crisis situations when there's back orders for weeks, or there's government regulatory issues, or earthquakes and tsunamis and hurricanes and things like this that you have no control over? We're going to work with you on that stuff, and then we're going to teach your team that gets there how to duplicate in a way that they can duplicate greater. So we are so excited to be there with you guys. We've been talking about this just weeks and weeks. We're obsessing over this agenda. The marketing team there is working night and day to get these tools done for you guys. You have never seen anything like what you're about to see. So Ann and I are delighted to be working with you. We're honored to have your trust. We're looking forward to meeting with you in person. So thank you. And then, Byron, if you have any final word, great. If not, we'll send them on their merry way.
Well, I'll make it quick. I always have something to say. It's just how long I'm going to get going. I don't want to say. I don't want to say too much after that. Fabulous information, and information that I know. I'm looking at these universal principles that you're taking and applying into today's world. And I love it. And I've loved watching these tools come together. I've loved all the work behind the scenes. I've loved all of the feedback that we're getting from our leaders. And I just love where we're going. As we're doing the exact opposite of what most people in the world in this industry are doing right now. Most people are scaling back. They're shutting down markets. They're getting rid of products. They're laying people off. They're doing all of those things. And Rain is hiring people, and not just hiring just anybody. We're hiring people to take us to that next level. And, Randy and Ann being here are part of that equation. And I'm so excited to have them and their expertise and their passion. And you can see their passion and their experience. And the principles will never change. How we put things in place, like I tell people all the time, can change. But, just thank you all for being on here. We're doing this. The reason that, like Randy said, we're willing to invest into, and that's what it is, an investment. We know we won't make our money back off this event. We're not going to make our money back off of ticket sales. We're not going to make our money back off of product sales. So why would we dump hundreds of thousands of dollars into this event? It's because we're investing into you and our future together. So our future is bright, and I'm really excited about what's going on. Randy, thank you so much for taking time. And thank you so much for taking time. It's great to have Jeff here. All of you, that are out there, just know everybody is working around the clock to bring this 2.0 out. So it's not a slogan. It's not a tagline. It's none of those things. It's a fact. It's reality. And you're going to be able to see that here shortly. So excited that you're able to hop on, everyone, and love that we're going to have a chance to continue to be able to learn from both you, Ann and Randy, in the future. And I know that the information that is going to be shared as you're taking the time to really sit down with our leaders, at the boot camp and really do these things. I mean, as we know, guys, if you can take somebody else's experience and knowledge, how much of a learning curve can you save yourself by taking somebody else's experience that's paid the price, that has the scars to prove it, that's gone out there and now being, willing and able to pay that forward and pass that on. It's going to be an amazing. You're all getting an event within an event, and the boot camp itself is going to be worth the time and energy, let alone everything else that we're doing. So I'll get off the box, as I can get fired up and get going. We talk about Rain and where we're going. It's just because I love what we're doing and I love working with you. And I love that this is here. And I've said this a million times. I believe, and I know Rain's here because it's supposed to be. It's not about Byron. It's not about any one of us. It's about being able to bless the world one person at a time, starting with ourselves. And we've chosen this way and this path to do it because it's what empowers people. It's what gives people the power. And that's what we're all about. So thank you so much for hopping on, everyone. Randy, Ann, thanks again. I can't thank you enough for all the hard work. I mean, when we were first talking about doing all these tools, I just want you to know, Randy said, this is something that would be kind of pushing it to get done in 6 months. And we're getting it done in 6 weeks. So I know that they've been really working around the clock as well. And so thank you. Thank you from all of us here at Rain. It's an honor to have the opportunity to learn from you and to be able to work with you, Ann and Randy. So appreciate you taking the time. And everyone else, let's go out there and do our part. Let's go out and take this challenge, take these assignments, and make it happen. As we know, easiest way for us to get people refueled is to get them in front of an experience like we're going to have in the sun. Make your job a lot easier. Make everybody's job a lot easier. Can't be duplicated any other way. So thanks everyone for hopping on. Wish you the best. Let's go out and make it rain.
Let's go make it rain, guys.
Do it.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you in Oslo.